Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about how LeBron James' babysitter, his quote-unquote babysitter from the 2008 Redeem Team Olympics, Jason Kidd, helped the coaching staff of the Mavericks come up with a game plan to beat LeBron James and the Miami Heat in 2011, guys. That's right. I was reading this article, and they were talking about how Jason Kidd was an integral part in the game plan that the Mavericks came up with to beat or to, hold down LeBron James, right? To try to get him off his game, so to speak, which obviously we all know it worked in the 2011 NBA Finals. LeBron James was horrendous, but it was Jason Kidd, the babysitter of LeBron James from the Redeem Team, who used that time with LeBron James. I'm assuming he used that time, studied LeBron James. He watched and learned from LeBron James and figured out what LeBron James could and couldn't do, man. And he used that knowledge against LeBron James. He helped the Mavs game plan, and we're going to talk about in this video, guys, how LeBron's babysitter, a.k.a. Jason Kidd, a.k.a. the babysitter, helped the Mavericks beat LeBron James in the Miami Heat in the 2011 Finals, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states that's been supporting my channel. You guys know I am truly, truly humbled, man, by the comments. You guys donate to the channel. You guys supporting the live streams. Like I said, just everything that you guys do, man, it means a lot. Thank you very much. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I came across this article the other day, and I meant to do a video on this a couple of days ago. I saw this article maybe 2 days ago, I want to say. And they were talking about how Jason Kidd was very integral, right? His input was very vital to the Dallas Mavericks and the game plan that they came up with heading into the 2011 NBA Finals. Now, if you guys remember that Finals, right, the Miami Heat, not one, not two, not three, right? We get all that, right? They were hyped up. They were the preseason favorites to win the championship, guys. They were the heavy favorites to win the title. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, right? And there's a bunch of other players on that team. It wasn't just those three guys, but you had a bunch of solid role players, not just that first year, but throughout those years, for the Miami Heat, right? We talked about guys like Ray Allen, the Shane Battiers, the Mike Millers, right? The Udonis Haslams. Who else was on that team? Mario Chalmers, right? These are the integral role players, the key members, right? Guys that stepped up, that, contributed at some point in time during those runs. Now, when I'm reading this article, they're talking about Jason Kidd. Like I said, the impact that he had on that Dallas Mavericks team going into those finals. Now, we all talk about the Dallas Mavericks and them having one of the great runs, Dirk Nowitzki, but it wasn't just Dirk Nowitzki, guys. I believe Tyson Chandler led the entire playoffs in rebounds, and Jason Kidd himself led the entire postseason, the playoffs, in assists. So it wasn't just Dirk Nowitzki carrying bums or, carrying the team. And no one's saying that, no one's ever said that. That's a LeBron James fan thing, right? To say that someone's carrying bums. Dirk Nowitzki led a team of solid veterans and role players. Guys like Sean Marion were on that team, right? We know about Jason Terry and what he did to LeBron James in those finals. Those were all veterans, man. The Jason Kidds, the Tyson Chandlers, right? We talk about these guys, Deshaun Stevenson. These are all veterans that were on that team that played an integral role, right? So it wasn't just Dirk Nowitzki, but Dirk Nowitzki was the key because he was the leader. He was sensational. He was unstoppable, essentially, in the finals, right? And he took it personal. Remember, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade both laughed at Dirk Nowitzki being maybe sick going into, I believe that might have been I want to say it was game 4. I think the Heat were up 2-1. They were making fun of Dirk Nowitzki coming into that game, and they were fake coughing and carrying on. They were being front runners because that's what LeBron James is known for being. He was feeling good, up 2-1 on his super team. He never cared in the world, right? And what proceeded to happen was the Miami Heat would proceed to lose the next 3 games in a row and lose the series 4-2. In embarrassing fashion, LeBron James scoring 8 points in one of those games, averaging 17 points a game for the entire finals, even though he averaged 26 points a game in the regular season, guys. Now, I don't know how often that's been in NBA's history that a superstar player, a leader of a team, Not only did he build that team, but the man averaged 9 less points from the regular season to the finals. I'm about to go do some research on that and find out if there's ever been a superstar level player leading a team that had a fall off of points per game that significant, that dramatic, from the regular season to the finals. 9 point per game less. Insane from LeBron James. That's how bad he was. But it wasn't just the scoring that was bad. The man played no defense. He had no impact. So like I said, so you're not making shots, you're not scoring. That's okay, right? Larry Bird didn't have a great shooting or scoring finals in 1981, but the man found other ways to be impactful, which prevented his team from losing, right? We talk about Michael Jordan in 1996. He wasn't great in those finals scoring the ball as far as, Michael Jordan and, him having that typical Michael Jordan level of playoff, or finals, rather. But Michael Jordan was still out there doing his thing in other ways. He found other ways to impact the game. All right? You guys understand that, right? LeBron James didn't do that. He did not dominate the boards. He did not lock up Dirk Nowitzki on the defensive end, right? Take that challenge upon himself. He didn't do that. So he stood in the corner, didn't take shots, wasn't aggressive, didn't play defense, didn't know how to play without the ball. It was just a weird moment for LeBron James, right? That exposed him. He got exposed heavily in that moment. We talked about this, but LeBron James couldn't just take down the chin, right, and come back stronger next season. What did he do? He decided to make fun of the common folk, talk trash, and talk down to the people that were maybe rooting against him, right? It was a sad time for LeBron James. But there was a reason why LeBron James struggled in that NBA Finals, guys. There was a reason for it, all right? And the reason was that LeBron James didn't have a well-rounded overall offensive game. He didn't have a quote-unquote bag, all right? And Jason Kidd exposed that in the finals. Now, I was reading this article, and they said that in this article, Jason Kidd went to the coaching staff before the NBA Finals started, right? They had like a meeting with the coaching staff and the players. And Jason Kidd basically said, hey, listen, man, I didn't realize it was going to be this hard for me to ever make it back to an NBA Finals. Remember Jason Kidd went to the NBA Finals with the New Jersey Nets in 2002 and 2003, right? Leading them to back-to-back NBA Finals appearances. And then this was the last time, or the next time that he went there was 2011. So it was like 9 years later. Jason Kidd was at the end of his career here, right? This is basically the last hurrah, and that's what he was talking about in this meeting. He was basically telling him, listen, man, it's probably going to be my last chance to get a championship. And he was very prepared. And Rick Carlisle said that he was actually shocked. He couldn't believe how prepared Jason Kidd was coming into that finals. He couldn't believe how prepared he was. He was like, man, this guy, he was like a coach. He had notes, he had all this stuff that he was ready for the finals, for LeBron James and the Miami Heat. And Jason Kidd, like I said, I'm sure that Jason Kidd used that babysitting time that he had with LeBron James on the Redeem team. I'm sure that he used that time, right, and learned from LeBron James, and he was going to exploit that stuff. I'm sure that was part of the notes that he had written down. And it was Jason Kidd who came up with certain schemes, right, and certain game plans for LeBron James heading into those finals, guys. So LeBron James' babysitter exposed him in the NBA Finals because he understood that LeBron James did not have an overall offensive game, and not a well-rounded offensive game. He knew that LeBron James struggled in certain areas with certain aspects of the game. You look at LeBron James in the Finals, doesn't know what to do without the ball in his hands, right? They ran zones sometimes during that Finals. LeBron James didn't know what to do against the zone. He looked confused. But remember, LeBron James is supposed to be a savant of basketball. So in those moments, those are times where LeBron James should have been able to make adjustments on the fly. You're telling me that the great players don't have to make adjustments on the fly? Game plans, teams doing something different to you? It's called an adjustment. You come into the halftime, you go into the halftime, you come out of the halftime, you make an adjustment. Maybe game 1 to game 2, you make an adjustment. Wasn't LeBron James the guy always telling us, well, game 1 is always like a feel-out game for me. I feel out, teams. And all right, so you had a feel-out game 1. You guys were up 2 games to 1 of the finals. So now you're 3 games in. You should have already had your adjustments. You should have been able to figure them out if you're a savant of basketball. I'm not saying every player could do this, but the great players can figure these things out, make adjustments on the fly, like a Michael Jordan, like a Kobe Bryant, like a Larry Bird, a Magic Johnson, a Will Chamberlain, a Bill Russell, right? Hakeem Olajuwon, a Tim Duncan. You're going to figure out what teams are trying to do to you game to game and make those adjustments in game, like I said, or from game to game. You're going to make adjustments. LeBron James couldn't make adjustments in those moments because he did not have the overall offensive game. He did not work on his skills, and that was the problem for LeBron James in that moment. But he did not take the challenge in other areas. Rebounding, defense, leadership, none of that stuff. He wasn't able to galvanize his team around him. He couldn't do that. And Jason Kidd exploited those ideas and those facts because Jason Kidd knew about this from the 2008 Redeem team. And a lot of this stuff is starting to come to light now. And now a lot of stuff is starting to make sense. So when you hear the article and you read the reports about Jason Kidd, his impact, the input that he had coming into that finals with Rick Carlisle, with the coaching staff, you see Jason Kidd on the court. Remember, it was Jason Kidd. What was he, 35, 36 years old at the time? Right, all the years in the league he had been playing. Jason Kidd at 6'4", 215 pounds. He was guarding LeBron James during these finals in certain plays at certain times. Guarding LeBron James because Jason Kidd could do those kinds of things because he was a smart basketball player and he used his smarts. He used what he learned against LeBron James to his advantage. And he was able to have an impact that way. And so once again, LeBron James' babysitter, a.k.a. Jason Kidd, exposes LeBron James. Not only did he get exposed in the 2008 Redeem team by Kobe Bryant, by others in that moment, right, from the reports that we're hearing now, he was exposed in the 2011 finals heavily. The same way he was exposed in 2007, lagging an overall offensive game. Go watch the 07 finals. LeBron James looks terrible out there. No game, no moves, no bag. So he's out there being guarded by Manu Ginobili. He's out there being guarded by Tony Parker. How is Manu Ginobili able to guard LeBron James? LeBron James should be able to back him down, post him up, but LeBron James couldn't do that. He did not have an overall game. Not in 07, not in 2011, not in 2022. There is no overall game. There is no bag for LeBron James. And in that moment, Jason Kidd exposed him because Jason Kidd's an all-time great competitor who played both sides of the ball, who had an overall game, rebounding, playmaking, leadership, galvanizing the team, helping a Dirk Nowitzki, being that dude. So shout out to Jason Kidd, like I said, for him being able to implement and have an impact that way. For Rick Carlisle to big him up and to be in awe of how prepared he was coming into those finals. Like, from a coaching point of view, insane. This is Jason Kidd, guys. This is why he was able to galvanize the teammates around him, take that New Jersey Nets team to back-to-back NBA finals without a whole bunch of, all-time great players on that team. That was the kind of player that Jason Kidd was, man. Like I said, one of my favorite players of the 2000 era was Jason Kidd, man. And like I said, when you start to hear these reports now, all this stuff is starting to make sense now. LeBron James is getting exposed heavily. Every time you turn around, there's another article, another report, right? All the video footage is there to back everything that we're saying up, guys. So shout out to Jason Kidd, man, the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, and the game plan or the input that he had on the 2011 Mavericks defensive game plan, their schemes against LeBron James, and how impactful it was. You see that it worked. Whatever Jason Kidd talked to the coaching staff about and the way that they were able to, like I said, put this stuff in, implement this, it was sensational. Because sometimes you don't necessarily have the personnel to, implement something. You might have an idea, a concept in your mind, but you don't have the personnel to run that concept. It's like I remember listening to Pat Riley speak in the early to mid 90s when he took over for the New York Knicks. And he talked about the kind of personnel that he had on the team. And he wanted to find an identity on those Knicks with the personnel they had. He said, this is the personnel we have, so I'm going to create a team and a game plan, right? A style, play style based off the personnel that we have. And that's what people should be doing, coaches should be doing. But what do you get now? In this era of NBA over the last 5-6 years, everyone's trying to implement the same play style, even if you don't have the personnel for that play style. So shout out to Jason Kidd for being able to do those things, come up with the game plan, and then, like I said, going out there and executing the game plan on LeBron James, Jason Terry, J.J. Barea, Jason Kidd, Deshaun Stevenson. I mean, they were trash-talking this dude. Like I said, they were just hounding him, had it out there looking like a straight fool. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.